just a quick video. It's going to be quick because I went on James White's show today because he allowed people to go on his show and call in. So for the first time or in a long time, so I called in, and I've seen his debates that he's been debating all these people. He has many debates against Catholics and all these different people, but he has one debate against Oneness Pentecostal, and I found that kind of odd. So I just wanted to test him on his knowledge about, Oneness doctrine and the Trinity, and he cut me off right away. It's kind of rude. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's kind of rude. Um, he was talking over me and telling me I was a liar and that he was a professional and I'm just like a caller. And so that's very like Jewish, like Talmudic tactics to be like, I'm the authority, even if you have a source, I'm gonna cut you off. Okay, that's Talmudic. So I actually have no hard feelings towards James White whatsoever, even though he's wrong about the Trinity and he's a Calvinist. And he's participating in a conspiracy to basically like control the YouTube information about what Christians receive on the internet, right? And so I just said one thing to him and it triggered him about Martin Luther saying that the Trinity is a man-made conceived doctrine. And he said, "Oh, in 33 years I have never heard something so preposterous," or something along that line. You can see the clip. And he cut me off because I didn't get to finish, like, to say, yes, Martin Luther believed in the Trinity also. He believed in the Trinity doctrine um, of three persons, just like the Catholic Church. And so he was halfway wrong. But what I was pointing out was that Martin Luther denied the Trinity was ever in the New Testament. And that's a huge thing. To say that's not a huge thing is crazy. Of course, that's a huge thing for him to say the Trinity is a man-made doctrine conceived by man, because it aligns with the early church who held to the monarchia and said that God is one and also Jesus is God. Okay, nobody else has that formula that God is one and Jesus is the Messiah who is also God. Nobody has that formula. The Unitarians don't have it, the Jews don't have it, the Muslims don't have it, the Catholics don't have it, the Orthodox don't have it. None of them have it. Only Oneness Pentecostals, the monarchists, have it. Is because they have God is three, but he's one. That's not the God is one and Jesus is God. No, that's not the same doctrine. Okay, so what I was proving to James White was that Calvin had one idea on the Trinity and Martin Luther had one idea on the Trinity. So instead of starting at modern day history, right now in 2023, I figured we start from the Reformation because he's a Calvinist and I like Martin Luther's ideas on the Trinity. So what I was saying was that Martin Luther wrote that the Trinity is a man-made conceived doctrine. Um, he basically said I was lying. He gave a blog rebuttal on Twitter. He wrote, he addressed me specifically about the oneness modalism. He didn't tag me or nothing like that, but he responded to me. And so nothing he responded really was even debate worthy. It wasn't even scholarly rebuttal. And so this is why I say people don't want to debate me when it comes to this one topic, because they know they can't disprove it, because the earliest church held to this. The Saint Paul held to this. He never wrote about a Trinity and he wrote 25% of the Bible. He never wrote about a Trinity. Every time Jesus talked about God, he says, I'm one with the Father, etc. This oneness idea, and that's why we're one with Jesus Christ. And so, So what I was going to do was start from the Protestant Reformation. Since he's a Calvinist, I believe in Martin Luther, and I was going to work backwards in time until the early church and prove that these ideas have always happened from the Protestant Reformation, which is important history to Protestant. If you don't believe the Protestant Reformation, you're basically like not a Protestant, okay? Because you believe that like John Huss, Tyndale, Wycliffe, all these people played a role in the Protestant Reformation. Martin Luther and even Calvin. But what I was saying specifically as my introduction is that I choose Martin Luther in this situation over Calvin because specifically on the Trinity doctrine, because the Trinity is the main doctrine of Christianity. So if you don't have that right, the other parts don't matter. Soteriology doesn't matter. None of that matters, because what matters is the main commandment. You'll have no other gods besides God. Our God is one God. That's the main part. That's the main part. And so when James White speaks about the Shema, he says, "Hear, O Israel, our God is one." And so Paul says the same thing, but he adds Jesus to it. So you can't have, either you have false scripture from Paul, or these scriptures coincide with each other and they complement each other. And so if they complement each other, he is saying Jesus is God. And so if Jesus is God, if the Shema is one God and Jesus is God, then there's only one Lord. There's only one God. Jesus is God. It's one substance. There's no three persons. And so that's just the main part I wanted to do, is that to say was that I was working from Calvin and Martin Luther, what they were saying versus each other, and then working backwards, right? I didn't get to go to Philo of Alexandria. Obviously, I got cut off at Martin Luther. And so waiting for a rebuttal or something like that, or a debate challenge or something, anything. But what I received from James White was basically just like the typical like carnal response of, "What? I'm a professional. You're not." This is basically, that was it. I'm a professional. You're not. That's it. That's all I got. So I guess I'm a scholar now. I don't know.